point that kind of what you said, I don't think that he's necessarily a racist. I don't know him, obviously. I can't make that call. But I know that he is very self-absorbed, and he's not very self-aware. And he says things and doesn't think about them a lot of times. And especially if you, look at his Twitter account. I mean, no matter how much you support him, and I'm one of these people. I am not, like 120% pro-Trump, and I've actually spoken out a lot against the way he does a lot of things, against a lot of his, mostly his attitude more than anything else. But I do pray for him, and I've done that with any leader. I did the same thing with Barack Obama, and I felt like that as an American and a Christian, I have to be respectful of our leaders, and I have to pray for them, and hope they do the right thing, and make the right decisions. But I do think that a lot of times he just says things, and a lot of people do this. Yeah, says things that he doesn't realize how they sound, and he doesn't care.
Right. I do it too. I don't have a filter, and he's human. We have to remember that too. And first of all, he's not a politician.
He's not. Obviously, he's not very good at politician.
And he may have speechwriters. I really don't know. To me, it's just a lot of times he just says what's on his mind.
And a lot of people like that because they're so sick of political pandering.
Right. And he kind of talks to you a little bit. And I like that in a politician. Mm-hmm. I don't agree with 100% of what he says and his policies. The things I do agree are the core beliefs of conservatism. So that's why I felt like I needed to vote for him. But he does say some off the wall things, and he does definitely tweet some off the wall things.
Right. And I think they tried to revoke his Twitter account at one point because of it. But I think
I know his cabinet members are going nuts over it. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And here's the thing with politics: if you supported 100% of what Obama did, or if you support 100% of what Trump is doing or does, then you're not thinking for yourself. Right. No two people agree on everything.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are a lot of people that did support Obama no matter what, and there's people that support Trump no matter what. And you got to think for yourself.
But, I'd say, okay, Obama, I didn't like his policies. There are some things that are all right, but most of it, no.
Yeah, most of his policies I disagreed with as well.
But I think electing Obama to the president of the United States was one of the greatest things this country ever did because he was African American.
Electing a black president did say a lot about our country. Yeah. It did. It said a lot about how far we've come. Unfortunately, after that, a lot of I guess you call them soft racists, people that won't wear a swastika on their arm or they won't put a hood on, but they're still very racist. And if you get them in private conversation and it's only white guys, you're going to hear it. Right. Those people used Obama as an excuse to why they're not racist. They can tell a racist joke and then they can say something completely racist and talk about how black people are this or that, or black people aren't as intelligent as white people, or black people are more violent than white people. All this stuff they say, and they say, "Oh, well, we're not racist though because America elected Trump or elected Obama. How can we be racist?" Right. It's almost like a free pass now, to say what you want.
That is true, but it's funny that Trump ended up being the president that succeeded him. Yeah. But I do think, historically speaking, with the past this country has, and with everything that we've gone through with the African American race or ethnicity, right. It was an amazing moment in our country.
It was amazing. It was inspiring. Yeah. I didn't vote for Obama.
I didn't either.
But I was inspired by him. Right. I have to admit that. And a lot of conservatives just hate Obama. Yeah. And I think that's, there again, politics, people like to hate what the person they don't agree with or whatever. Right. But he was inspiring.
He was. But I think what's important to know, though, is we should not, I really liked that we voted for him because of our history, or elected him as president because of our history. But, like, I didn't vote for him because I didn't like his policies.
Exactly.
I didn't stand for what he believed in, honestly.
Right. And I agree with that.
Yeah. And I think that brings up the point that we should not... Skin color shouldn't even matter.
It really shouldn't.
Yeah. It should be about what he stands for and what he believes. And that's, I think, as a president of the United States and the people of the United States, that's what we need to look at. Skin color shouldn't have been an issue.
No,
unfortunately for me, it kind of was because of our country's history. Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted that for our country. I think that was a good healing moment for our country.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like you said, it really shouldn't matter, and it's sad that it does.
Yeah.
But it was kind of almost like a healing moment because it felt like we've made some progress.
Yeah.
And then Charlottesville happens, and
we regressed.
Right. And it is an isolated event, but then it's also kind of symptomatic of a bigger problem. I think there is a deeper issue.
Right.
And there's not a lot, like I said earlier, not a lot of people that are going to wear the swastika or the hood or they're going to join the Klan or something like that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that sympathize. And that, you know, frankly, there's a lot of people that I know and family, friends who are racist and would never admit it. They're not as racist as some other people.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily say things out loud in public, but in private they do, because I've heard them. Because I'm another white guy, and in a room full of white people, they feel totally comfortable saying these things.
Sure.
And if you called them a racist and called them out on it, they would be appalled by it.
Yep.
But the things they're saying, you know,
are racist.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't have as big of a problem as some people think we do, maybe, because you know, neo-Nazis and skinheads and the Aryan Brotherhood and, you know, whatever, the Klan, this stuff isn't as widespread or as big as some people make it out to be.
Right.
But there is this undercurrent of racism still in this country. And it's a real thing. We have to discuss it.
We do. And I think as Christians, it's extremely important that we discuss it. What does the Bible say about race? What does, how did Christ handle different race?
Right.
You know, talk about the Good Samaritan story.
Right.
You know, different ethnicities. You know, you had Gentiles versus Jews. You know, the Romans. Everything going on in that politically in that time period.
It was a hot mess.
Right. That's saying the least. It was a hot mess.
Yeah.
But for a podcast that's not getting real political, I know
we just got really political.
Yeah.
We hope you're all still listening. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go back to the statue thing, because that's what really started this part of the conversation. But do I want to memorialize the things that the South stand for as a country? You mentioned those statues being at courthouses on government property. I think no. I think we need to move them to someplace like Gettysburg, for instance.
And that may be a good solution, because I think there's places for this type of stuff, and it's definitely in museums. It's definitely on battlefields,
right?
Things like that. But and you know, it's interesting to me that we see in with leaders around the world who were overthrown,
right?
And the most recent one probably that springs to mind for me is in Iraq with Saddam Hussein.
Sure.
We were cheering people on when the statues were coming down.
And, you know, that was a powerful image, too.
And it was.
I see it in my mind right now. You know, just everyone gathered around and they're pulling that statue down.
Yeah.
That speaks so much for what that country had to go through, the oppression they went through.
Right.
And, you know, so in a way, I do sympathize with the left, tearing, you know, even like groups like BLM. And, you know, I sympathize with them wanting to get rid of these things. But at the same time, we need a reminder of what happened. And so, yes, I think we do take them down from government property and we put them in more museums or battlefields or, you know, places like that. So because of what our country stands for today, we're not We are unified. We're the United States. We don't have a southern United States of America.
Right.
We don't have a northern United States of America. There's no line dividing us. We're not building a wall going through Kentucky and Tennessee and on westward.
Right.
You know, and so we don't need to represent what the Confederacy did, I feel, on our government property.
And and now we're not getting political, right? But I'm going to get political again. Some of the people who are, and I get both. I really do get both sides. I get why they want them moved or removed or whatever. And I think your idea of moving them is better, but than destroying them. But it's funny to me, and I get why people want them up. You know, Southerners, you know, they're like, that's part of their heritage, whatever. I don't feel that, but. And I think they're sometimes just using that as a cover for racism. Some of them aren't. That's not fair for everybody. Some of them really feel that as part of their heritage, and you know, or the rebel flag, or what the rebel battle flag, whatever. Those type of things are images of that they relate to their heritage as Southerners, and they don't necessarily equate to racism, and they don't think about the fact that, well, to other people that is very much equated with racism.
Right.
But it's funny to me that sometimes the people who want the Southern things to stay, you know, the Confederacy would basically be represented still. Yeah. They want the statues of Robert E. Lee. They want, or Jefferson Davis or whoever. I don't even know who they have statues of, but they want the flag to still fly. These are the same people who will talk. A lot of them are conservatives, and they will adamantly demand that Muslims in America, Muslim women not wear hijab,
right,
and they not be able to do their prayers on work time, or they not even build a mosque in their neighborhood, because they're saying, well, they need to integrate to American culture.
Yeah.
Well, then why doesn't the South integrate to American culture? Right.
That's so true.
I think that's a pretty valid point.
Yeah.
And very political, but there it is.
Yeah, that was a really good point. I was gonna say too, you know, tearing down these statues is a slippery slope.
It is.
And, you know, where do we draw the line at? You know, you brought up the rebel flag or the battle flag. You know, when the unfortunate incident happened in South Carolina with the church shooting last year.
Oh, yes. Dylan Roof. Yeah.
You know, there was Facebook posts of him standing with the rebel flag, or the battle flag. And so the left band together. We got to burn the rebel flag. We got to burn, this. So it started with the flag. Now we're on the statues. Where do we draw the line?
It'll be books at some point.
Yeah.
It'll be...
It's Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury.
Right.
It's 1984 by George
Orwell. Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. Orwellian.
Yeah. It is.
That's the beginning, at least.
I mean, those were prophecies in a way.
They were intended to be, I think. I think Orwell saw that could happen. And it, sadly, is starting to happen. And I think you have to stop short of that somewhere.
Right.
And I think... we're not going to find answers on the podcast today. We're not going to solve it here.
No. And we're not trying to.
We're not trying to. Yeah, I think what we want to do is ask the right questions. Yeah. We want to take the issue seriously. We want to ask the right questions. And we want you to ask those questions with us, the listeners. If we can all start to, whether black or white or something else, or whether it doesn't, all those things don't matter, whether conservative or liberal or in between, we need to start asking these questions. And if we can ask the right questions individually, we're gonna come to a place where we finally do have an answer. But I don't think the answer is going to come today. It's a process.
No, it's not going to come today. All right, so that wraps up episode 2, part 1 of Race and Christianity. Wow, Jaredith and I talked about a lot, and there was just so much more that we could have talked about, but we had to cut it short. We do not want to be a political podcast at all. We are